तो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, कुछ दिनों पहले हम लोगों ने जाना था कि सारे GTA कैरेक्टर्स के साथ हुआ क्या एक्चुअली जब गेम एंड हो जाता है। बट क्या आप लोगों ने कभी ये सोचा है कि GTA गेम्स के शुरू होने से पहले उन कैरेक्टर्स के साथ क्या हुआ, स्पेसिफिकली माइकल, फ्रैंकलिन एंड ट्रेवर, उन सब के ओरिजिन्स क्या हैं एंड ये GTA 5 की स्टोरी से पहले एक्चुअली लाइफ में कर क्या रहे थे। तो आज हमें इन्हीं सारे सवालों का जवाब मिलेगा क्योंकि डॉक्टर मॉड ने एक बहुत ही जबरदस्त वीडियो बनाई है इस पे, तो बहुत ज्यादा मजा आने वाला है। सब्सक्राइब का बटन दबा दो एंड लेट्स begin. Okay,
have you ever wondered what were Michael, Trevor and Franklin doing before GTA 5?
Yes.
Well, I did, and I did some digging.
Oh.
And the lore and backstory surrounding them was actually more detailed and interesting than I ever thought it would be. How did Franklin meet Lamar? How did Trevor meet Michael for the first time? All of these details will be revealed in today's video. Let's start off with Michael Townley, not DeSanta as he's later known in 2013. He wasn't always living the life of luxury, quite the opposite in fact. Michael was born around 1965 or 1968 in the Midwest. Grew up far from the comfort and privilege that his children would later enjoy. Raised in a trailer park, his childhood was shaped by poverty and hardship. His father was an alcoholic and abusive, eventually abandoning the family. Michael's mother also left him behind, offering a range of vague explanations for his father's disappearance, claiming he either skipped town, was hit by a train, or even joined the Navy. Despite these challenges, Michael showed promise as a high school quarterback, earning recognition for his talent and occasionally landing his photo in the local newspaper. However, his future in sports was cut short due to a combination of injuries and his volatile temper. Trevor also mentions the Midwest several times, leading us to believe that this was very likely close to North Yankton, if not within North Yankton itself. As a young adult, Michael began a life of crime. According to himself, he was imprisoned twice by the time he was 20.
20 साल की एज में 2 बार अरेस्ट हो गया। मैं भी 20 साल का हूँ एंड मैं लिटरली अरेस्ट होने की बात से डर जाऊंगा।
He committed his first robbery in 1988, where he managed to steal $10,000 from a small business on the outskirts of Carcer City.
Bro, what was your first bank score?
88, outskirts of Carcer City. Took a small franchise for 10G. Yeah, things were easier back then.
Yeah, 25 years ago. Jesus!
It's during this period where he associated himself with Lester Crest, which as we all know is the heist planner and mastermind in many of the heists in GTA 5. So how did Michael come to meet Trevor for the first time? Before we talk about that, let's quickly give a backstory on Trevor. Trevor's background is largely speculative and comes from his own stories, many of which are exaggerated or inconsistent. He was born and raised in Canada near the US border. He claims to have grown up across multiple states and countries.
अगर ये सब कुछ ट्रेवर ने बताया तो फिर तो झूठ ही होगा क्योंकि ट्रेवर कभी सच नहीं बोलता.
And a complex relationship with his beautiful, damaged mother, as he claims. From a young age, Trevor exhibited violent tendencies and struggled to fit into society. He claims that during a rage-fueled episode, he sodomized his hockey coach with a hockey stick and strangled a clarinet player with their own instrument.
Oh my
his
God,
father eventually abandoned him in a shopping mall, prompting Trevor to burn the mall down in retaliation. Trevor also had a brother named Ryan, believe it or not, with whom he had a strained relationship. Ryan died in a, quote, accident sometime before 2013.
Accident है तो इसी ने मारा होगा.
Later in life, Trevor discovered a natural talent for flying jets and enlisted in the Air Force to become a fighter pilot. However, just days before completing his training, he was discharged after a psychological evaluation deemed him mentally unstable. It's implied that his difficult relationship with his mother maybe played a part in this disqualification.
But he could fly planes, this kid. So he signed up to the Air Force to fly all day long and bomb villages and maybe, just maybe, drop the nuke. And it was all going well until one day, just before he got his wings, an evil witch in charge of psychological evaluations told him he was unstable. Grounded him for life. That's terrible. It was. Sent him into a deep pit of doubt and despair.
GTA गेम्स की मुझे यही बात बहुत अच्छी लगती है कि लाइक उसमें छोटे छोटे हिंट्स दे दिए जाते हैं जो कि बाद में फैंस, जो समझदार फैंस होते हैं, मेरी तरह नहीं, जो समझदार फैंस होते हैं, वो अपनी थ्योरीज बना सकते हैं, स्टोरी को पूरी तरीके से खुद ही बना सकते हैं. मतलब पूरी स्टोरी को ऐसे कभी भी नहीं बताया जाता कि ये हुआ, हिंट्स ड्रॉप कर दिए जाते हैं इधर उधर.
By the late 1980s, around the age of 20, he started running a small air freight business in North Yankton. This is where he eventually met Michael Townley. So let's track back to how exactly Michael and Trevor met. Michael first met Trevor Phillips while smuggling cargo across the border. As Trevor waited for his unknown contact, he noticed 2 dust trails on the road, even though he only expected to be meeting one person. Michael stepped out of the first vehicle, while an older civilian emerged from the second. It turned out that Michael had carjacked the man, and in an attempt to make a quick getaway, sped towards where he was supposed to meet Trevor. As the civilian tried to alert Trevor as to what had happened, Trevor responded by brutally killing the man with a flare gun, shooting him directly in his eye.
I get close to the old guy and I pull out this flare gun I'm carrying around, squeeze the thing off in his eye. Shit, it was horrible. We had to pick up the body and dump it in a lake on the way. Thing was still burning in his head when we dropped him.
Recognizing how well they worked together despite the grisly incident, Michael took Trevor under his wing, and the two became partners in various crimes. Although they had some success, their criminal careers were fraught with difficulties.
How about you? Why don't you share with the group? I'm here. I'll back the facts.
The checks cash place? I went in, took him for $8 grand, walked out.
Yeah. It was a bit more complicated than that, though, wasn't it, T?
Maybe I knew the guy. Maybe he ID'd me.
Maybe you did 6 months.
Maybe I was out in 4, and that, children, is why we don't leave witnesses.
That, children, is why you don't rob people that you know.
But this is where things all started to go wrong. Where in 1991, Michael, Trevor, and another associate visited a strip club, where Michael met a stripper named Amanda, who went by the alias Crystal. However, she soon took a liking to Michael, and the two began a romantic relationship. Michael
को अपनी वाइफ स्ट्रिप क्लब में मिली थी.
That's why you married a stripper. You like people who do things for money. No offense. I mean, to you or the lovely Amanda.
Oh. None taken.
A few months into their relationship, Michael and Amanda married, eventually having 2 children, Tracy and Jimmy. They lived together in a trailer park in the Midwest. As Michael's family grew, his priorities began to shift, and he started questioning the dangerous criminal lifestyle he was leading. Trevor, however, saw these changes as a sign of weakness, and this is where things really began to fall apart.
And they lived happily ever after? For a while. Until the troll met another troll in a strip club. Big bad troll under the bridge went soft.
ओ भाई, तो ये सब कुछ ट्रेवर ने गेम में बताया है. लाइक अब तो भाई GTA 6 में एक डायलॉग को चुप करके सुनूंगा कसम से.
So in 2004, Michael made a secret deal with a corrupt FIB agent named Dave Norton. The agreement involved cutting ties with Trevor and Brad in exchange for a fresh start. Michael promised Norton a monthly 5-figure payout, and in return, Norton would relocate Michael and his family to Los Santos, providing them with new identities. This may sound very similar to the witness protection.
Listen, Amanda, we're going to move to Los Santos. Start over.
तो अगर माइकल ने अपना नाम वाम चेंज करना था तो माइकल ही क्यों रखा? माइकल डी सेंटा क्यों कर लिया? माइकल टाउनली से कैरी कर लेता, जेक कर लेता. ढूंढ लिया लोगों ने.
Amanda, I don't have a choice. Do you want to die here where it's always snowing? Or do you want to go and live where it's always sunny?
Oh.
All right, you want to live? Tell me you want to live. Work this out. Trust me, nothing is going to go wrong. Nothing. Yeah, I hear you. We got to follow the plan. Everything will work out. I did.
Brad's body was buried in Michael's grave, while Michael watched his own funeral from afar. But as his family life crumbled in Los Santos, Michael entered a midlife crisis, seeking therapy from Dr. Isaiah Friedlander. So we've discussed Michael and Trevor, but of course the last remaining character is Franklin. Franklin is interesting in this regard because, well, what do we actually know about Franklin before GTA 5? Franklin Clinton was born in South Los Santos, San Andreas in 1988, and he spent most of his life navigating through the streets of Los Santos. Raised in an environment steeped by gang culture, Franklin became a gangbanger at a young age, joining the Chamberlain gangster families alongside his best friend Lamar Davis. Together, they committed small crimes to make a living, such as carjackings and petty thefts. Franklin, Lamar, and some of their friends then decided to split from Forum Drive, forming the independent Forum Gangsters. Franklin's early life, however, was fraught with hardship. He never knew his father, and his mother, a cocaine addict, struggled to care for him. Her addiction ultimately led to her death when Franklin was still a little boy. We can actually see a photo of what Franklin looked like when he was younger here. Following her death, Franklin was taken in by his maternal grandparents, but he still gravitated towards the streets, finding a sense of identity in hustling. It's around this time where Franklin became friends with Tonya Wiggins and J.B. Bradshaw. Franklin's first foray into crime was selling cigarettes with Bradshaw, a scheme that worked well until his grandmother caught him. After his grandparents passed away, Franklin moved in with his aunt Denise, inheriting a house on Forum Drive. He attended Davis High School with Lamar, Tanisha Jackson, and Tonya, but his temper got the better of him after he was expelled for assaulting a teacher. As he plunged deeper into gang life, he became a street dealer, a gangbanger, and committing various crimes with Lamar. And so, in 2013, Franklin's fortunes began to shift, where he and Lamar started working for Simeon Yetarian, an Armenian businessman who ran a shady car dealership. Under the guise of selling cars, Simeon used the dealership as a front for loan sharking and extortion. When clients inevitably defaulted on their loans, Franklin and Lamar were tasked with repossessing the cars, pulling them further into the criminal underworld. However, this is what ultimately led Franklin to meeting Michael.
ये तो फेवरेट मिशन मेरा। ओके, तो इस वीडियो से हमें ये बात पता चली कि जो माइकल है वो सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रगल से गुजरा एक्चुअली में, और सबसे ज्यादा डिसेंट वो इन तीनों में से है। दैट्स फनी। और जो ट्रेवर है वो शुरू से ही पागल था और वो बड़ा होके भी पागल हुआ, वो चेंज ही नहीं हुआ। और जो फ्रैंकलिन है वो बचपन से ही गैंगस्टर था, तो उसके लिए बड़े होकर चेंज होना तो मुश्किल ही होगा। अगेन स्पेशल थैंक्स टू डॉक्टर मॉड, बहुत जबरदस्त वीडियो थी भाई, बहुत मजा आया। आप लोग बताना कि आपको सबसे ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग किस कैरेक्टर की स्टोरी लगी। बाकी अगर आप लोगों ने इसका पिछला पार्ट नहीं देखा जिसमें मैंने डिस्कवर किया था कि GTA के कैरेक्टर, सारे कैरेक्टर्स GTA 3 से लेके GTA 5 तक के, उन सब के साथ गेम खत्म होने के बाद क्या हुआ, तो आप ये वाली वीडियो क्लिक करके देख सकते हो कि क्या हुआ उनके साथ। बाकी सब्सक्राइब का बटन दबा दो, लाइक कर दो इस वीडियो को, एंड मैं मिलता हूं आप लोगों से अगली धमाकेदार वीडियो में। तब तक के लिए पीस एंड लव, बाय बाय।